welcome back to an episode of Clarinet Couch. Today I'm going to talk about accessories. There are some that are necessary and some that are not necessary, and I'm going to help you determine which one is which and what specific kinds you need. The first basic accessory that you will need is going to be a reed case. There are many different kinds of reed cases out there, but the most standard and most useful one are the basic flat reed cases like this. They come in 4s and they come in 2s. Mine is kind of cracked a little bit, and but I still wanted to use it, so I just put a little hairband around it. So these are really nice because they keep the reed safe. They keep it flat so that when it dries it doesn't warp, and it helps it so it dries fully and it doesn't get moldy. This is very important, and you cannot leave them in the funny little plastic things that they come in. There are a couple different cases depending upon what kind you have. These are not acceptable for storing your reeds in long term. If you are just got the reed and you're needing to get a new case, that's great, but don't keep them in these longer than you have to. They don't let them dry properly, and they can be they can be helping your reeds develop the molds that we do not want to have on reeds. The other thing that is absolutely necessary is, is a swab. And this is a silk swab. I forget how much I paid for it, but it is well worth it. So your swab cleans all the spit out, because one of the problems is if you have your clarinet and you put it away and it doesn't get dried out, that's where you get mold and you get the pads on the instrument decay. If you don't know, the pads are under the keys here, and I forget what they're made of. I will double check, because I know there's different materials they can be made of. Some are made of cork. I believe some are onion skins. Not sure, don't quote me on that one. So you need to make sure that those get dried out. The way that you put the swab in, the way I like to do it, is I will turn the clarinet upside down, find the end of your swab, it usually has a little weight in it, make sure your swab is flat and straight, not folded, and then you just pull it through, reach in the other end, and there it goes. And usually I do it more than one time because I usually have been playing a lot. And then you pull it through, and out it comes. I frequently clean out my mouthpiece and the actual clarinet body separately, so I'll take off the barrel and the mouthpiece together, take off the reed, and I'll swab that by itself. You can get things that look like little bottle brushes to clean out the mouthpiece. I don't typically use that. I just can get all the stuff out as well as I need to with a swab. Most clarinets will come with some kind of a swab. A lot of them come with the really, really thick felt swabs. You don't want to use those because they do get caught in the interior of the clarinet. I think I may have had it happen a few times when I was in middle school, but there was one embarrassing time when I was in college where I had this swab, and it had gotten folded somehow and twisted, and it got caught on the screw inside of the clarinet, and I couldn't get it out. There was no way for it, and one of the students who was actually really good at instrument repair, he actually took my key off and had to take that off to get the swab out. So that was embarrassing because I didn't take the small step of checking to make sure that it wasn't folded. So please do that. So those are the two really important things. You can also have, there's a thing that's called a reed guard, and it is a cover that goes over your reed and your mouthpiece so that it can protect your reed while you're walking around school, or if you're going from the band room to the cafeteria or the auditorium or something, you're walking around. I lost mine a long time ago, so I don't have it with me anymore, and when I got this instrument, it didn't come with one. Another thing you want, maybe, I like it, is this mouthpiece protector. You probably can't really see it because it's black, but it's a little sticky thing, and you can get them in sets of 6 or so. These are actually, I accidentally got saxophone ones, but they work also for clarinet, as long as it's for an alto sax or a soprano sax. They go on the top of the mouthpiece, and they help keep your teeth from slipping on the mouthpiece. They also help keep your teeth from vibrating, and they also protect the mouthpiece, which is their main function. And if you are not careful, or you have really serrated teeth, you will wear down your mouthpiece. I just use these, protects the mouthpiece, it's perfect. And then when I start to bite a little tiny hole, you can kind of see little tiny hole that is being formed in there. When that goes through, I just take it off, flip it around, and then I use the other side of it until it's done and over with. The next thing that you will want is a Thummy. And you can get them in a little package like this. Got this one on Amazon, Thummy's. And they are just a little black squishy thing. There's a bunch of different kinds. They go on the thumb rest, and you can see one side is a little bit thicker than the other. There are many different kinds. I like this one because it's cheap and it's softer than some of the rubbery ones. And she goes, bloop, right there. And it prevents you from hurting your thumb. Also, as a side note, when you're playing, you want to make sure that your thumb, your cuticle is right underneath the thumb rest, not way out here. And that will also save you some pain. But this can really do a lot for the pain. Those are the two main things. You might want to get a stand. And you can get a nifty little stand like this. This is made by Hercules. And I think it was about $25, $20 at the store. The neat thing about this one is it fits nicely into a case. They also make these for flutes and other instruments. And you just pull it together, close it in, and then when you store the instrument, it goes in the bell inside of your case. And it's great because it doesn't really take up any extra room. You don't need an extra bag, and you don't have to worry about losing it. Well, I think that's pretty much it. I'm looking at my case here, and there's not much else that you'll need, really. The stand, you don't really even need all that much unless you're going to be playing at a longer rehearsal or maybe having lessons, or if you like to sometimes play and take a short break and then come back to it while you're at home. You can also carry a screwdriver in your stuff. I have one, and I have the other things I have here. Pencil. You can put a pencil in your case. I leave that there. It's a little screwdriver. Might be a useful accessory. Not so much for beginners, but if you are frequently in contact with your band director and you think you might need one, you can carry it and your band director can help you. I must tell you, you do not want to tighten these up here because sometimes that can affect it. But every once in a while, you'll get a screw like this one here on the side. I don't know if you can see it. Little tiny screw right there. Okay, it's sticking up, and you probably can't see it very well, but I can. And sometimes they'll stick out, they just vibrate themselves out. That happens, it's pretty normal. And you can just tighten it in, and you're good to go. Occasionally they will come out, and having the screwdriver is good. Whenever anybody asks for a screwdriver for anything at a rehearsal or somebody's glasses break, somebody says, hey, you got a screwdriver? All the clarinetists, we're ready with our screwdrivers. The other thing that I keep sometimes with me, not all the time, I'll keep sometimes sandpaper. Once you get to the point of being able to sand reeds, I will keep a piece of plexiglass to put the reeds on so I'm not sanding any other surfaces that I might damage. Sometimes I have this pad and cork glue. This is good for if you have an emergency or you're at a rehearsal and your cork, one of your pads pops off, not so much the cork around the joints, but when your pads pops off or one of the little corks underneath some of the keys, after your rehearsal, you can cork it in there and make sure it's not going to fall off in the case or anything, and then it will help it glue, and it goes pretty fast. This guy, you don't really need to use these so much. This is more of a mouthpiece cleaning. Sometimes you'll see the big fuzzy things that go actually inside the instrument. I wouldn't use those at all. I don't know any clarinet player who does. Flute players do sometimes use them. But the problem with those is once you get to a nice clarinet, you get a nice wooden clarinet. When you leave those in the clarinet, they keep the moisture inside rather than letting it dry out. And so they keep the pads moist and they keep the inside of the wood clarinet moist, and that's not really good for the instrument at all. And sometimes you'll have other things that will come with your instrument. You don't necessarily need to have a polishing cloth with you at all times. You don't really need, sorry, I'm dropping things. You don't really need a polishing cloth. You don't necessarily need pad paper. Pad paper, you can just stick it under the key, slide it under, close the key, close and open the key several times on the pad paper, and then it dries it out. You don't necessarily always need that. The other thing you do need that I almost forgot about is cork grease. Cork grease is very important because your corks here, especially when they're new, you can tell I need some, will be a snug fit on your instrument. So when you put it in, You can just gently put them on, and not chapstick. Do not use it as chapstick. Put them on, not too much, otherwise your clarinet might fall apart on you. And then you rub it in. It won't hurt you, so, you know, if you got a little extra on your fingers, that's okay. I just rub it on my arm or my leg or something. And then you put it back in. And it goes in nice and smoothly, and you don't have to worry about yanking and pulling on the instrument and accidentally bending keys. Well, I think that's all. I think I've covered everything that I have in my case with me regularly, and some things that I don't, and I think that's it. If there's anything I missed, please let me know. Also, if you are ever interested in Skype or FaceTime lessons, that's something that I'm considering venturing into. I'm currently a middle school teacher at a local middle school. I teach chorus, orchestra, guitar, and a class of musical theater, and I teach private lessons on piano, voice, clarinet, and I've also taught flute, oboe, and saxophone. I have a degree in music education, and I've been playing for quite a few years. So if that's something that you're interested in, or interested in some extra help with something, I'll be looking into that realm of things sometime soon, so let me know so I can have a list that I can start working with. Have a great day.